Welcome to the More Perfect Union, the podcast that offers real debate without the hate. I'm Kevin Kelton, along with my friend Greg Matusak.
From Cincinnati, Ohio.
You're on the internet. Nobody cares.
It's so weird not doing that whole intro. Yeah, I gotta work on that. I gotta think it was nice not having to do a joke or a bad joke even. Yeah. So it's the two of us tonight, and it's the week before Thanksgiving. Actually, it's Thanksgiving week. Yeah. And as the world gets ready to celebrate in their own COVID-19 ways, the Biden transition moves forward. Seems to me like they're doing things pretty professionally and not being too hampered by the fact that the other side still thinks the election's going on. I think they still are being hampered in the fact that they're not getting the super secret reports. They're not getting the COVID updates that the president. They're not getting what they need to actually do a true transition. This could hamper the entire country, but they're doing the best they can in a. It's almost an embarrassing situation. It's like when you see a child having a fit at the grocery store, and you just keep on. Oh look, Campbell's soup is on sale, and you just keep on doing your thing. That's the best metaphor I can come up with.
I got to say that I'm very impressed that Biden and his people have not engaged the Trumpers on this, because I think that's what Trump and his people wanted, was to keep the campaign going, to keep the election campaign in high gear by running against Biden, and they're not taking the bait. I think that's great.
Oh, yeah, they would love more debates. They would love more rallies. They would like to... what they want is another election. They want, right. They want to say, can we have a redo?
Oh, no. They might lose another election. They just want to throw out the election and just have Republican legislators decide who the next president should be.
Exactly.
So this week, we're going to be hearing some new names of people that Biden would like in his cabinet. Right now, the hot rumor is a gentleman named Antony Blinken at Secretary of State. I'm not familiar with him, but apparently he's been working for Biden for many, many, many years. And I've also heard the rumor that Jamie Dimon may be a choice for Secretary of the Treasury. What would you think of that, Greg?
Oh, I think both of those are excellent choices. They have been in the, I'm going to coin a term, the Biden sphere. I think that's going to be kind of a cool word now. Everyone wants to be in that Biden sphere. I think both of them would be standouts, and I think they both would be an improvement of what we have now.
Now, I have a question for you. Is it legal, is it constitutionally legal to have a Secretary of the Treasury who's not from Goldman Sachs?
Not only is it legal, but I think it's preferred. The rumor I heard was, what's his name, from Chicago?
The lead singer? Oh, no, different Chicago. The nine-fingered man. Oh, Rahm Emanuel.
Rahm Emanuel, thank you. As soon as I said nine-fingered, you knew what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard he was going to be somewhere in the administration, and I don't know if maybe housing, maybe just a bouncer. I don't know, but his name came up in a lot of the news shows.
You know who would be great, and I know you're going to love this
Tell
pitch. Me. John Kasich. He should be in the new administration.
Oh, John Kasich's an asshole.
Yes, we're back on the John Kasich is an asshole run.
Oh my gosh.
You know how they have those signs at work that say so many days without an accident? We've gotten so many shows without a John Kasich is an asshole reference.
We really have. I haven't called John Kasich an asshole in quite a while. And actually, I would not be surprised if he runs again in Ohio.
Okay, interesting. Now, before we move on, the one name that I think is really interesting in terms of who's being rumored to be under consideration for the cabinet is Bernie Sanders. Apparently is lobbying pretty hard to be labor secretary. Not apparently, he clearly is. He said he wants the job. What do you think of that?
I can't think of anyone worse. I honestly cannot think.
Tell me why.
His ideas are so far left and out of whack, not only with this administration so far, but with the country. Okay, and this is why he lost the election. And the other concept is Joe Biden has repeatedly said, the left does not control me, the progressive left does not control me. I am in charge. I set the standard. I set the rules. And Bernie Sanders does not follow that prescription. He'd be a bull in a china shop.
Yeah, I agree. And the other reason why I think Bernie would be a horrible choice is because any chance that we have right now of winning those 2 runoff Senate positions in Georgia would be absolutely killed.
Oh, yeah.
If Bernie Sanders was the choice for labor, because they would be running, there's the socialist side of Biden. This is what you're going to get with the Biden administration. That's why you need Republican senators to keep it in check. They would be running those ads until January 5th. And it would be all Bernie Sanders and socialism would be the entire campaign. And that would just send Kelly Loeffler and Perdue back to the Senate.
Right. It will be Bernie Sanders, AOC, Green New Deal. I mean, that's the only thing you would hear on Georgia radio or whatever they listen to down there. I don't know.
So Trump's legal team, they took a licking this week. Apparently this woman, Sidney Powell, which I don't know where she came from, but at some point
I'll let you know, actually.
Oh, okay.
Sidney Powell actually had been working with the Flynn defense team.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So she's not a newcomer. She has been in the Flynnosphere. That's my new thing, by the way.
Ospheres? Everything's an osphere?
Osphere. She's been in the Flynnosphere for quite a while, and she's actually been, I mean, as long as you have the Department of Justice, pulling strings for you, she's a relatively good lawyer. Also, she's been, rigging things. She's been a staple on Fox News for years and years and years. She's not an unknown. She's not a crackpot.
Oh, she's a crackpot.
She's a crackpot, but she's not like a out of the walls crackpot. She's a known crackpot. How's that?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's fair. Well, anyways, in her very enthusiastic attempts to advance the case of Donald J. Trump in the courts of the United States, she has gotten the label of being out of her effing mind. And even Chris Christie today on one of the morning shows called the conduct of Trump's legal team a national embarrassment. And that could only mean her and Rudy Giuliani, because they're basically the legal team.
Yeah, this happened today. Sidney Powell accused Kemp of colluding with the CIA, Venezuela,
Hugo Chavez,
who's been dead since 2013.
That doesn't stop them.
Doesn't stop them. A rigged voting election
machine company, Dominion, I believe is the call.
Yeah, Dominion. And then all to get Donald Trump out. So there's this massive conspiracy with the socialists, the CIA. I mean, this thing goes deep. And she said, I have evidence, which I'm going to unleash in biblical fashion on you. And I have it. I will get it to you as soon as... And she's never gotten...
The first of never, yeah.
Yes.
So they lost again a big case in Pennsylvania yet again today, and they're appealing it. So they've lost about 29 or 30 cases now. There's only about 800 appeals left. But in the meantime, there are recounts happening in Georgia, or actually I think, yes, it's a recount. They've already done the audit and the certification of the election. So Biden is the official winner, but they're doing a recount again in Georgia.
Well, the Georgia recount was going to happen regardless.
Right.
Because the votes came close enough. It was under
0.5%.
0.5%. So let's not blame the Trump campaign on that. They were going to get a recount, and that's not on them. Regardless of whether they pissed and moaned and cried foul, they were going to get a recount. So
right, that was a mandatory recount.
Mandatory, right?
Right, and the Wisconsin recount that Trump is paying for in several different counties, apparently they have MAGA folks there that are trying to obstruct the recount by doing things like insisting that every single ballot be double-checked for signatures. Every single ballot they're contesting.
Would it help if we gave him a participation trophy or, something? I mean...
It can't be a good sportsmanship trophy.
Well, it can't be that. I mean, there's got to be something. I mean, it's not working when a lot of even Tucker Carlson has come out and said, this isn't working. He came out against Sidney Powell the other night.
Yeah, he did an interview and he really gave her a hard time.
Yeah, he gave her the business.
And now they're turning on Tucker.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's only so much ridiculousness that any of them, except for, Sean Hannity. I mean, he's the Kool-Aid man.
Right.
Yeah, but...
So let me ask you this.
Okay.
Obviously, unless something absolutely out of the universe happens, Joe Biden is going to be the 46th president of the United States. Donald Trump will be a former president. And we all know he's not going away. Obviously he will have his Twitter platform. Obviously he'll be touring the country and maybe doing some rallies. But my question to you is this. Is he going to try to be a president in exile? Is he going to be the next Jefferson Davis? He has, 70 some odd million loyal followers. And while I don't think they're going to, take their guns and go to the trenches for him, there's other ways to fight a political civil war. And is he going to try to, run the country from outside the White House? Is he going to try to interfere in foreign affairs? Is he going to try to supersede the Senate Majority Leader, who would be officially the highest Republican in the country? What do you think, Greg?
First of all, using the term the next Jefferson Davis actually kind of implies violence. And I think that there might be some of his followers who might do violence. I mean, there's no reason not to think so. We've seen his followers like the Proud Boys and a lot of the, white nationalists and alt-right who already expound violent tendencies at these rallies. So this wouldn't be surprising. And whether they take it to a larger scale, and he all but condones it. He's like, these are people fighting for their rights with fists and violence. That is the most concerning part. Whether they use their constitutional rights, like maybe they'll do boycotts. Well, there's nothing we can do about that. And, that alone, I think, if he uses that power of the pulpit, great. That's capitalism. And that's, if people decide to boycott these things because they're not happy with the current leadership, that's what America's about. Then Biden's not doing his job to unite the country and make certain people happy. But the violence thing, that's no good.
Okay, so Inauguration Day comes. John Roberts is up there. He swears Joe Biden in as the president. What do you see happening on that day?
So I heard this crazy rumor, and I love rumors. And I don't know if it's true or not, but there's this thought going around the internet that Trump is going to actually hold a rally on that day. Because you and I both know he's not showing up to the inauguration.
No, of course not.
I mean, orange and egg on his face do not match, right? So there's this thought. So he'll have a rally in maybe Georgia, maybe Pennsylvania, screaming, I won, I won, I won. But the big thing to top that off is he's going to announce his run for president in 2024. Wow. And that will be the big... Now, everyone's like, okay, well, that's kind of interesting. But that will be the big middle finger to the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm.
Because, wait for it, if he does that, not one other candidate could even start raising money for the next 4 years. If they even open a exploratory committee, they would be shunned. How dare you do that while we already have a candidate? We have a presumptive candidate, Donald Trump. 73 million people who thought they were cheated, right? And anyone who actually looks into it, how dare you do that? He will have hobbled the GOP in 2024.
It appears that way. I definitely see what you're saying. My question is, and only time will tell, how will Trump play over time? Because my feeling is he may seem very strong in the first 6 months, maybe even the first year of a Biden presidency, but I think that the glow around him is going to burn out fairly quickly after that. And I could see someone, not Mitt Romney, because I think he's done running for president, but somebody like him being the alternative to Trump. And frankly, I think Trump may announce a run, but won't carry through on it. But again, who knows? Time will tell.
But, I mean, like, it won't be... Mitt Romney's way too middle.
Oh, no, I don't think it'd be Romney. I just meant somebody Romney-esque.
Oh, no, like maybe like a Jim Jordan or someone like who's just as obnoxious, and dumb, like Matt Gaetz.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, dumb.
Or Mike Lee.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what? One of the things that we've talked about off air, and we're already falling into the trap, is now that the election is over, we don't want to let Donald Trump dominate our thoughts, our minds, our lives, or our airtime. So let's leave his 2024 campaign for another day.
Till next week.
Yeah, and look at the thing that is real and is in the news this week, and that's COVID-19, which is still out there, ravaging the country, even though it doesn't seem like it. If you're watching the news, you know that there were almost 200,000 brand new cases on Friday, and the deaths are up, and hospitals are at capacity in many big cities and in most states. And yet, we're all kind of living this new normal, and it doesn't seem to be affecting people that much. How's it where you are?
You know, it's amazing because, as I always said, I live in Cincinnati, right near the bridge in Kentucky. And the difference from going from Ohio to Kentucky is night and day. And Kentucky has different rules. Ohio actually has a 10 o'clock curfew.
The whole state does?
The whole state. As far as like nightlife bars and things like that, restaurants, everything.
Because I've heard that people used to stay out there till 10:30.
Oh, crazy people. Crazy people. But I literally had several discussions. I was down in Kentucky for some work, and they were like, this is all fake. They didn't use the word fake, but they're like, we have to have large Thanksgivings. They can't do this if I want to have a large Thanksgiving. The government can't stop me. And actually in Kentucky, they put it, I don't know if you want to call it a mandate, but the governor asked to limit your guests to like 8 people. Right. And whether it's enforceable or not was really the question. And people got really upset that the governor would even ask that. It's a public health crisis. That was never even a question. It was like, how dare the government infringe on my right to, have a lot of people at my house?
Yeah, and I could be wrong on this. I don't know that any municipalities have tried to create a mandate where it's a criminal offense to have more than 8 people. I think they just recommended that. I could be wrong, but I think that was kind of like a guideline. And by the way, in most of the states, wearing a mask is a guideline. Even in California, where you have to be wearing one outdoors, I don't know that they're giving out fines for it. Maybe they are, and I'm just not aware of it.
So we have a mask mandate. It is a mandate to go into like shopping areas and stuff like that. But we will not fine the individuals. We'll fine the establishments.
Yeah, and you know what that sounds a lot like, by the way? It sounds a lot like the ACA, because the ACA has a mandate without a fine, and the Republicans are trying to throw that out as unconstitutional, and yet in all the Republican governor states, they have mandates without fines for the masks.
Well, no, actually, the way it works is the stores or the establishments aren't supposed to wait on you. And if they wait on you, then they can be fined.
Right.
Which I get. So even if you say, well, I'm just going to walk in, I'm just going to look around, I'm going to breathe heavily on this mango.
But if somebody goes to the register or wants to check out, what are they going to do? Kick them out of line?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
They can just say, and in fact, because it's not supposed to fall on local police, trust me, I've recently been trained on this. It's not supposed to be local law enforcement. It's supposed to be local health officials. Just as if you're in a restaurant and they say, "Oh, we noticed you haven't cleaned your grease traps." These are the people, and they have secret shoppers. If they say, "Oh, well, we noticed you got a cart full of food. You're not wearing a mask. We'll take your money anyways." Or, "We notice you have a bunch of vinyl records, whatever. We'll take your money anyways." They're just supposed to say, "We're sorry. We can't accept your money unless you're wearing a mask."
Wow.
And the first time's a warning, second time is a fine, and the third time your store or business can be closed down for a small amount of time. I'm not sure.
What I still don't understand is, and again, rules are different from state to state and city to city, and I am obviously not an expert on every ordinance in every state. But in a lot of them, they've limited restaurants. Some of them say no indoor seating at all. Some of them are only doing 25% indoor seating because you have to eat without your mask on. So that creates, some jeopardy. And they're closing back down certain barbershops, bars, but exercise studios are still open. Gyms, yoga studios, Pilates studios, where people are working out without masks in extremely confined indoor spaces. And I just don't understand how they let that happen, because one of the easiest ways to expel air is when you're working out and you're breathing heavy. And these people just mostly don't wear masks, even though I think they should be. I'm not saying they should be closing them down. I think that everybody should have to work out with a thin mask on, where their breathing is not too inhibited, but at least they're not expelling absolute air into a small room. What do you think?
I think Ohio, and that's the only place I can speak to, I think gyms were one of the places that they've limited numbers. And it's always restaurants, restaurant bars, gyms. Those three things always come in. It's like thirds.
Yeah, but here in my little neck of the woods in Texas, I can't say that it's necessarily the same thing across the state. But where I live, people are allowed to work out in these places without masks. I just don't get it. Anyways, you know who's quarantining these days? Don Jr., but he's only quarantining on Twitter. So everybody knows, of course, Don Jr. has tested positive for COVID-19. Apparently, the new controversy is he was caught liking a lot of tweets that were about his own diagnosis, his own COVID diagnosis. And in defense of that, he claimed, the only reason I was liking those and reading them was because I wanted to see the comments to see what people were saying about me. But this guy is so narcissistic that he reads his own articles about his COVID-19 positive tests.
He's a weird dude. I think I would rather be stuck in an elevator with Eric Trump than Don Jr.
Interesting. You know what? I think you're right.
I mean, Eric Trump I could probably confuse with that trick where you put your lock your fingers and put it behind your back and unlock your fingers and say, "Oh my gosh, how did you do that?" And he would think I was a wizard. But Don would probably try to sell me on Trump steaks again, and I'd be like, "Are you sure?"
You know what else he did this week that is kind of unbelievable, except nothing is unbelievable anymore? He didn't post it, but he retweeted a doctored video of his dad and Pence superimposed in a fight scene from, I think it was the movie The Bronx Tale. The clip superimposed Donald Trump and Mike Pence beating up Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, and several other Democrats. I think AOC was in there too. They created a fight scene where Donald Trump is beating up all these Democrats. And he actually retweeted it.
Like I said, he's a weird dude.
And just imagine the mentality of people who find that funny. This really bad animation. And it's really bad animation of Donald Trump and Mike Pence kicking the asses of 3 female Democrats. 4, because Pelosi was in there too. 4 female Democrats.
Well, Trump had reposted one where it was a wrestling one where it was him beating up like CNN News or something like that. Yeah, and it looks really bad. And I have to admit there was a Democrat one recently of the Avengers Endgame scene. Have you seen that one?
No.
They took Biden as Captain America, and then they add up all these other people who, as they're coming out, but it ends with no one actually getting beat up. It's not like Joe Biden actually throwing a punch, or there was someone. Oh, Sean Connery was in it. That was really weird. He had just passed away, and they were like, let's throw Sean Connery in there, as a. That was the weird one. But yeah, those videos are, to be honest, weird, and I can't imagine getting excited about watching Donald Trump beating up women or anybody to begin with. like you said, weird dude.
We found out this week that 2 vaccines are being fast-tracked by the FDA. Today they were saying that there's a chance that injections could be starting as soon as December 11th or December 12th for frontline workers, doctors, nurses, people that work in hospitals, and then, of course, moving on to nursing homes and people over the age of whatever it's going to be, 75 or 85. So what do you think? I mean, when do you think life gets back to normal?
Well, first of all, are you ready to trust these vaccines that have been fast-tracked?
The answer is yes, but I do take comfort in the fact that I won't be offered one because I'm not one of those frontline workers, so I will not be in the first phase.
You're not in the first phase, but maybe the second phase?
I could be. I'm getting a little close to that age. And believe me, I'll get online. No, the answer is this. If it was just anyone who wanted one could get one right away, I would probably wait a little bit. But I do take comfort in the fact that, first of all, I do think that those groups should get the vaccine first.
Without a doubt. You're right.
But the positive side for the rest of us is that while we wish them no harm and only health, they are serving to create a new sample size where if there is any, side effects that have not been discovered yet, they're more likely to come out with a larger sample over the few months that it will take to get those injections into them, so that by the time they get around to those of us who are in the middle of the bell curve of the country, we could get that injection with a little bit more confidence. Now, that said, they were saying today on the news that to achieve herd immunity, that infamous phrase, probably the catchphrase of the year, herd immunity, they think that we could achieve it if 70% of the country gets inoculated. But right now, according to the polls, only 58% of people say they will get inoculated.
So this is where I'm not a big fan, I'm going to use the quotes, martial law. Not a huge fan of it. And this is where, executive power and, stormtroopers, whatever. But seriously, we've had we're almost like 250,000 people. And if you want to come in and tell me about your rights, man, not to inoculate your children and blah, 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 while my children have been stuck at home staring at a screen to watch their teachers, yeah, I'm calling for the U.S. Army to come in and hold you down to get vaccinated. And please send your hate mail to MPU podcast. I'm serious. I am this close to saying it should be mandatory. And if you want to get a doctor's notice that you can print off the internet along with your asthma, I can't wear a mask doctor's notice, great. I'll take it. I'll look at it. And then I'll have Sergeant Biff give you an inoculation. We are past that stage, people. We are past that stage. And yes, I will hear about suspension of rights and blah, blah, blah. We are at a pandemic, a world pandemic. We need this.
Well, although I agree with you philosophically, I don't believe that the Biden administration or any presidential administration would go so far as to try to mandate getting injections. They do it for kids. If they want to go to public school, they have to get injected for measles and smallpox and things like that. But I just don't think that this country is anywhere near that. But I do have some questions to raise with you and with our listeners about what it's going to be like in this kind of nebulous gray period between the first shots going out and we've achieved what they call herd immunity. What happens if the people who get their first shot, and so far we know that at least for the two that are being fast-tracked, you need a booster shot about a month or 2 months later. So you need 2 vaccinations for the vaccination to be effective. What if people get the first shot and they don't want to wear their mask anymore, but they're not technically immune, nor are they technically not contagious? What is society going to do about that? What's going to happen if people get the first shot and because maybe they have a bad reaction, their arm hurts? I understand one of the side effects is that you can be incredibly tired for 24 to 48 hours. There might be some other side effects. What if people don't return for the second shot? Then again, they haven't been fully vaccinated. They haven't been fully taken off the potential for the disease. And the third question is, will there be black markets for the vaccines for people that want to jump to the front of the line? And my last question is, what happens if it gets to be March or April and many people are starting to get vaccinated, but many people aren't? Will people be claiming they were vaccinated so that they don't have to wear a mask in a store? Then they can go into a bar at night and sit there without a mask? And is there going to be arguments as to whether they were truly vaccinated or whether they're just bullshitting because they just don't want to wear their masks anymore?
Well, I think we will get to a point where the people who never got vaccinated, they'll be on their own. Okay?
Yeah, but what if those on their owners decide to take off the masks and just mix with society?
Well, then the people who have been vaccinated won't get sick.
Yeah, but what if we haven't gotten to that 70% place yet? So too many people can still get sick. Again, I'm talking about before, let's say, June. I'm talking about that period where we're still rolling out the vaccine and not enough people have been vaccinated to have, again, the quote-unquote herd immunity.
How do I say this? There's going to be assholes everywhere.
That's my point.
And you can't have a perfect system.
True.
We can only do the best we can. I mean, even when we're completely finished, when we're like, okay, or Operation Warp Speed, when the congratulations, job well done banner is down, and we're like, okay, I guess everyone's got their thing. I guess there's still going to be people who are like, I never wanted it. I'm fine. Anti-vaxxers will never do it. There's nothing we can do except try to do the best laid plans, I guess. And I think there will be black market ones that will have horrible side effects. I think it will come in fashion. You will see people have buttons made that says, I got vaccinated. Mm-hmm, okay? Mm-hmm. And those will become super popular because if you're wearing an I got vaccinated pin, and then with a booster, those people won't have to wear a mask.
And it's going to create a lot of tension out there. That's what I'm saying.
No, I disagree.
Okay.
I think people will be like high-fiving them, stuff like that.
Now, one thing I can predict, and I can't predict it with certainty, but it's a fun thing to think about, which is Pfizer's going to have a product, Moderna's going to have a product, there's going to be probably at least one other company that's going to have a competing vaccine. And these companies have invested a lot of money and they want to corner the market on vaccines. So what are they going to do? They're going to do those glossy TV commercials, like for Odesta or whatever those products are. I don't know the names of them, and the little blue pill and all that other stuff. So I was thinking today, what will those commercials look like? Because you could almost write them yourself. It's got to be visuals of people eating in restaurants without masks, indoors, people hugging, grandparents with their grandkids on their laps, high school football games where everybody's in close quarters in the stands rooting with no masks, and the players are playing with no masks. And all of that's going to be done while the narrator is telling people about the horrible side effects of these vaccines and what could go wrong. I think it's going to be great.
So I think that's the last 3 seconds I read because the guy does the side effects really quick.
Right.
But I think the first part will be like that exact same thing, but slowly, like you'll see like grandma and grandpa like oh kids, and then grandma and grandpa will disappear, and they're like, no hugging. Do you remember no hugging? And then like the kids running into school, and the kids will disappear, and then all of a sudden they'll be like at the windows of their house. And what about not going to school? And like the saddest thing, and then stuff that will put us back into like PTSD of 2020. And they're like, all that could come back unless you get the right vaccine, not like those other guys, which that, and then it will come back, and then the sun will come out, and they're like, vaccines bring back grandparents.
Right.
They bring back schools. They bring back, places that we can drink to get away from grandparents and schools.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. Who's going to be the first celebrity that's asked to do a testimonial for these? Who's going to be the Tom Selleck of the Pfizer vaccine?
I would like to say Beyonce. I mean, she's just so ahead of the curve on everything, and I do anything that the Queen Bee says. I mean, hells yeah! Oh, is Queen Bee? Hells yeah! I'd do 2 of them. Although I'm told you shouldn't do 2 vaccines. It's bad for you. But yeah,
I want to see the Matthew McConaughey commercial for the Moderna vaccine.
Oh, but he might be running for governor.
Of what?
What do you mean of what? Well, 1, of coolness. 2, of Texas. He's mulling over a Texas run next year. I shit you not.
I'd vote for him.
I would too.
Is he a liberal or is he a conservative?
Who cares?
Yeah, he's Matthew McConaughey.
McConaughey. All right.
Oh, how cool would that be?
That's literally his slogan. All right.
I'd put that bumper sticker on my car.
If it's not, I'm going to tag it and then send it to him. All right.
Have you really read that? I hadn't read that.
Yeah, that's for true. People, go look that up. Go Google it. You can Google it now. I'll wait.
You've given me hope for the future, Greg Matusak.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. That would be the coolest thing in the world, wouldn't it?
Unbelievable.
Oh, you guys would have, I mean, everyone would be driving Lincoln Navigators.
So let me ask you, as we get ready to wrap this up, and you and I talked about doing a tight show today, and we went on running about as long as we normally do. Oh, my
God. What the hell is wrong with us?
So are there any topics that are not political and not about COVID-19 that you've been thinking about this last week?
No, I'll be quite honest. If it doesn't have to do with the saxophone, that's all I've been thinking about this week.
Tell us about the saxophone. What are you doing musically?
I'm really into synthetic reeds this week. A brand, D'Addario, just finally released their synthetic reed, and I'm kind of like trying those out. And I'm like, oh, this could be a game changer. But I can't endorse them yet because, well, they haven't paid me to endorse them. But if they're listening, pay me and I'll endorse you guys. So that's literally what I've been spending my week doing.
Now, I know that professionally you're working for a music store, I believe, and so when something like that becomes your everyday, you're feeding your family through music, I assume that some of the excitement and joy can get lost a little bit because it becomes work.
Not at all.
Oh, good.
Not at all. So I work for a music store, but I'm an educational representative, so I support schools through the store. So I still teach, I still work for a store, but I make sure that schools get supported and get the equipment that they need. And I've been doing this for about a year now. But every day, I've never lost my passion for what I do. As I tell people all the time, you close your eyes and you probably think of Jessica, your kids, what have you. I close my eyes, I dream of saxophones.
That's great.
It's something my wife has asked me to stop doing and maybe think of her and the kids sometimes. But every day, it is still probably one of the biggest passions of my life. I memorize serial numbers when I'm not here. I would do a saxophone podcast, but It would be probably about 7 people listening because it's...
well, you would double our audience, but let me ask you this. Right. Are you playing in any bands now? You know,
not right now.
You talk about your saxophone with a passion, and you have for 5 years, and yet I've never known you to actually... I mean, I know you do gigs every now and then.
Oh, yeah. I gig when I'm not... when I'm not playing when it's not COVID, yeah, I play all the time. I have like 3 or 4 different groups I play in pretty regularly.
Oh, you do? What are you a jazz aficionado?
Yeah, I play a lot of jazz. I have a legit group. I have a quartet that I play in. I have 2 different big bands that I sit in.
I love big band music.
I love big band music. I mean, it's just so much fun. But yeah, it's like I said, it's one of the things I enjoy probably more than anything.
Okay, last question on the subject, and then we'll move on. Is who was the greatest saxophonist of all time?
Depends on what time I mean, every day that changes for me. Every day I find someone new who I just love more than. I mean, of course. I mean, there's Coltrane, but shorter. I mean, every day I find someone new who I just love, and I'm like, oh, Cannonball is just such a huge influence. Desmond, I mean, it's Parker. There's just so many. I know that's a cop out, but I can't pick one. I every day I find someone who I just love so much, or I'll rediscover someone who I love.
Well, for me, it's Clarence Clemens, but I have to put an asterisk next to that because he's the only saxophonist that I know.
Clarence Clemens is awesome, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Well, cool. Well, this has been a fun podcast. The time just flew by, and we want to thank everybody for listening. If you enjoy what we do here, please follow us on Twitter at MPU Podcast and on Instagram at MPU Fan Club. And don't forget, as always, to share our link on your Facebook timeline so your friends can discover us as well. Check out Open Fire Politics, the Facebook political group where we hang out during the week. And with that, Greg, going into Thanksgiving, will you be doing any cooking this year?
No, they make sure that I stay away from the kitchen. I do get to carve.
No turkey nachos?
No, oh my goodness. No, I make one sandwich the day after, but no, they make sure that I stay away from the kitchen.
I'm surprised they let you touch the knives.
Oh gosh, no, I'm excellent with that. Are you cooking? What are you doing?
We're going out for dinner. It's the 2 of us. We made plans at a great restaurant in Austin, and we're very excited. We're going out for Thanksgiving.
Just be safe. Just be safe. Be careful. Wear lots of masks.
Oh yeah, no, we're going to eat through the masks. We're not taking them off.
Good.